Their names are Alice, Bibi and Elsie. They're the three girls killed in a knife attack at a holiday club. Alice was 9, Bibi just 6 years old, Elsie was 7. In Southport today, on the street where it happened, there were flowers and utter disbelief.
I've got a daughter of my own, and it's just made me, I don't know what to say. Still what to say.
You okay?
Poor children.
It's just heartbreaking. It's just so heartbreaking.
This afternoon, adding to the flowers left at the police cordon, the Prime Minister, alongside Merseyside's Chief Constable.
How many more children?
As someone in the crowd shouted, "How many more children?"
I came here to pay my respects to the victims and families who are going through raw pain and grief. It's awful to contemplate what happened, to hear for myself the experiences of the first responders, what they had to deal with. It's really hard to take in.
Some of those emergency workers returned today. The scene they faced after an attack so violent, with so many victims, most of them so young, is hard to comprehend. A 17-year-old, arrested by armed police after the knife attack, remains in custody. While 5 miles away, in the village where the teenager lives, police were still outside a house that was raided and searched yesterday.
Merseyside police are leading this extremely important and serious criminal investigation. This was a horrific attack, and they need to be able to get on with that work, and they will provide us with updates. You'll understand that others should not be speculating or commenting in advance of those updates, and we really welcome the work of Merseyside police. But it's also important that they pursue every single angle of inquiry.
Among the questions for the police investigation, why here? Why them? Those questions also asked in the hours since by many who live in this seaside town.
My daughter comes here all the time. That's my uncle's house. We know the girls that were teaching, we know the girls that were involved. It's just horrendous. It's horrendous.
My neighbour knocked and said that she'd seen there was something on the news. She knew that my little girl goes to nursery very close by. So I rang the nursery straight away, and they'd been put into lockdown by the police. The police had rang up and said, you know, shut all the doors, shut all the windows, put the shutters down. And also wanted, obviously, all you want is for your child to be in your arms. But then I realised, you know, obviously it was the best place for her to be at that time. She was safer. I knew she was safe, I knew she was okay, but then my heart just goes out to the poor parents that, you know, the children went to a holiday club and they never came home.
Today, online in a tribute, Taylor Swift, whose songs they were dancing to, wrote, "They were just little kids at a dance class." And in Southport tonight, at a vigil, in the thoughts of the thousands here, those who helped, those so badly hurt, and also Alice, Bibi and Elsie, who were so young when their lives were taken.
Claire Fallon there. Now let's get more on the police investigation from our reporter Andrew Misra, who joins me now. Andrew, what more do we know about that investigation?
Well, let's start with the suspect who remains in police custody tonight, accused of murder and attempted murder after being arrested by armed police yesterday. We know that he's a 17-year-old male from Banks, which is a village just to the north of here, and that he was born in Cardiff. He hasn't been named by police and he can't be identified for legal reasons due to his age. Officers continuing to question him, trying to work out a motive. Generally, what happens is the police have 24 hours after they arrest a suspect to either charge them or release them, but they can apply to extend that to up to 4 days if the crime is serious, which clearly in this case it is.
And there have been repeated warnings about speculation on social media, haven't there?
Yeah, that's right. It's becoming increasingly common these days for the police to issue warnings to the public against speculating online about crimes. But in this case, Merseyside Police has gone a step further and it's said that a name posted on social media in relation to the suspect was incorrect and urged people not to speculate while the investigation is ongoing. There were also false rumours circulating online. The suspect was an asylum seeker who came to the UK by boat. Again, that is false. Tonight, Downing Street also warning against this kind of speculation, saying that it's unhelpful. And I think the concern here, and certainly from speaking to a local councillor here earlier, is that some of these people speculating online are trying to create division, when of course right now what this community needs is to come together.
Andrew, thanks very much. Well, Steve Rotherham is Mayor of the Liverpool City region and he joined me earlier. I began by asking him for his thoughts on the news that 3 children have now died.
Well, my first thought, as a father, you know, as a parent, you drop your kids off when they're young to these things and you place your children in the hands of others and you expect that they'll come home safely. Not just safely, but they'll have enjoyed the experience. And that's what everybody did yesterday, dropping the kids off, and it ended with this tragedy, which now, as you said, has taken a 3rd life.
I mean, obviously in an incident like this, which is incredibly rare, obviously people are devastated, but they are frightened too.
Yeah, the community definitely needs some reassurance. As you said, look, the likelihood of something like this happening are millions to one. There's so many things that go on with kids every single day and they go on without incident. And to have something like this and the magnitude of what's happened, I think that's what has shocked most people, and that's why you've seen the outpouring of despair and grief.
And anger as well. You know, the Prime Minister came, he could only stay, felt like a matter of seconds before he had to turn away. Lots of anger from some people saying to him, how many more children must die?
Yeah, I don't understand that people want to weaponise the deaths of 3 children before the investigations have concluded. I think there's plenty of time to do that. Look, Keir Starmer came here as the Prime Minister of this country to pay respects to the first responders. He thanked them all individually, shook every single person's hand, and he came here to lay flowers, not just on behalf of Keir Starmer. He's the Prime Minister of the country, and that's what he did. And I don't think that it's appropriate for people to have used this occasion then to put forward some of their nefarious theories about what's happened.
And he paid tribute to responders directly today.
Yeah, very movingly, and no script, just explained to those people who took part in the operation yesterday that whilst they'll think that they've done their duty, they were just doing their job, it's far more than that, and it's very much something that the country thanks them for.
I mean, you've said, and you've repeated what the police have been saying, that people need not to speculate, they need not to allow anger to be fueled by misinformation. How important is that in your view?
Massively so, because there are things in which certain sections politically will jump on the bandwagon and try to cause some nefarious intent, and I hope that doesn't happen here. You're talking about an area where it's a very close-knit community and they don't need this. And look, at some stage, those people will go away. The legacy has to be that we rebuild the resilience and the trust here and get this community back on its feet as soon as possible.
That is about, to a degree, getting information out to the public, though, isn't it? And people feel that that information about who may be responsible for this has been slow in coming.
Well, it has to be verifiable, doesn't it? You can't just speculate, and some of the conjecture that was online was totally misleading, and we now know some of those details, but the Chief Constable was there and very much explained that as things become known, they will tell people, but also you have to take in consideration that there are many families who should be told first, and they will be in the right way informed of progress in regard to the investigations first and foremost, and then all of us at a latter date will be able to find that information out.
So your message to people who are feeling grief and many people feeling anger and fear, what is that message?
It's understandable, isn't it, that people will feel all of those emotions, but we will rebuild. Unfortunately, this is not the first time something of this nature has happened in the Liverpool City region. We've seen a number of tragedies, and in those communities, people do come back together, and it's about that community resilience and cohesion, and that's what will happen here. There are still people now who are poorly in hospital. We need to be thinking of those people and not trying to make political capital out of something as tragic as this.
Steve Rotherham, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.